We continue our in-depth look at Islands of Adventure by looking at 2 of the rides in Marvel Superhero Island on episode 352 of the Unofficial Universal Orlando podcast. Hello everyone, I'm your host Tracy. I don't know why I said that like that, but you know, it's done now. So, I have with me tonight Lee.
Hello, everyone.
Hello. And I have Darren.
What's up, Internet?
And we also have Chris.
Hulk smash.
Everybody good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Right, now we are going to carry on looking in depth at Islands of Adventure and carry on where we left off. So this is Marvel Superhero Island, and on this episode we're going to look at 2 of the land's attractions. And first up, we have Stormforce Accelatron. Darren.
The best attraction.
Yeah.
Gosh, downhill from here. Well, Stormforce Accelatron can be found nestling between the Incredible Hulk Coaster and Cafe 4 on the left-hand side, like some kind of weird baby, as you enter Marvel Superhero Island from port of entry. It's a teacup-style ride, which makes it think like it'll be fun, but it's not. Built by Mack Rides.
Teacup on steroids.
Yes. Well, it's a teacup built by Mack Rides, so there you go. They're like, you want a teacup? We got a teacup, no problem. We only got coffee cups and espresso cups. Let's call it a teacup. We'll just change the label. It's good. Well, it consists of 12 ride vehicles. Each ride vehicle may have no more than a maximum of 5 riders per vehicle. I cannot imagine jamming 5 people in one of those things. The ride can reach up to 10 miles an hour and lasts a total of 3 agonizing minutes.
It feels so much longer.
Well, this ride's height requirement...
That's what she said.
Hang on. That only goes 10 miles an hour.
If you think spinning in a circle at 10 miles an hour is pretty fast...
I'm also virtually dislocating my shoulders.
We haven't got there yet.
Making that
For anyone
go
who hasn't
faster.
ridden it.
Anyway, sorry.
So the height requirement of this ride is 48 inches, and I have not and will not ever ride this ride.
Oh.
Challenge accepted.
Right? At this point, other than the stuff that's opened since the last time we were there, I'm pretty sure this is the only ride at both Islands of Adventure and Universal Studios Florida that I have not ridden.
We are going to have to try to like Mr. Bean him onto this ride.
I can tell you now, he will.
Just fire whiskey.
Oh no, that's definitely not a good idea. It'd be bad enough without it. To put fire whiskey in me and put it on it would not be pretty.
Oh man! Now we're gonna have to use a lot of distractions, disorientation, make him think he's in another area of the park.
Yeah, here, sit down on the Hulk. Oh,
yeah.
Sorry about that.
Oh, you'll be sorry. Trust me.
Bribery's coming up.
So the attraction opened at Marvel Superhero Island on May 28th, 2000, a whole whopping year after the opening of the park. In the attraction, Magneto, the arch enemy of the X-Men, is threatening the world as usual, and Storm and Professor Xavier recruit you into the Stormforce Accelatron, a device that they hope will stop Magneto.
Yeah, we don't know how, but apparently it does.
Yeah. Like I was telling Lee before we started here, is that I didn't even know there was like a theme going on in this ride. I thought it was just get on and ride.
No. I mean, I couldn't hear.
Very elaborate.
Yeah.
Storyline.
I couldn't say anything because I was going too fast. Couldn't hear anything because, well, everybody was screaming around me. So the planning for Islands of Adventure began in 1991. The original concept for Marvel Superhero Island was to be Gotham Island as part of a larger DC Comics themed area. Now, after that fell through, Universal reached out to Marvel, who were in dire straits at the time, and were brought the Marvel Superhero Island that we know, even though many of the ride concepts were initially floated.
Yes, the queue isn't much of an experience, much like the ride.
Sorry.
Or even much of a queue, to be honest. Yeah.
There isn't a queue at all, I don't think.
It's concrete.
But it originally explained through live-action comic panels that Magneto, a villain of the X-Men, has returned to threaten the world. Storm gives word to Professor Xavier, who decides to launch riders on his Stormforce Accelatron for no reason. While Storm gathers the powers of Mother Nature in an effort to stop Magneto.
If by the powers of Mother Nature she means vomit, then Yeah.
Why do
That is-
people need to be on?
I've never seen an episode of X-Men where they used people as the tornadoes.
So we have a grand machine, but
see-
it's missing one thing. Humans.
In 2 weeks' time, we will talk about an attraction that's very similar in theme, but makes much more sense while you're on it.
Yeah.
So was People
Shrek.
Nado the prequel to Sharknado?
Maybe.
I was going to say Peep Nado, but that sounded even worse.
On the ride itself, riders board a circular-shaped cars, which are colored either purple or yellow. Each car has a large wheel in the center, which riders may use to turn or hold on to during the course of the ride. Once riders have been seated, Professor Xavier and Storm explain the crisis going on and give guests the instructions on how to use their Acceelatrons. By turning the vehicle around as fast as possible, this will aid them in stopping Magneto.
How? Why? I don't get it.
It's funny just reading it. I'm not gonna lie.
Of course, once the ride begins, riders are spun around in circles, because it's a teacup ride.
Well, you can't spin in a square.
On a spinning track, of course, because it's a teacup ride, which should be no surprise, as it's a teacup ride. In there.
You
He
idiots!
even capitalized it.
Oh my god!
He knew future Lee would be arguing with himself.
Oh.
You want to see his face?
And as Tracy kind of hinted at earlier when she was talking, guests can affect how much the vehicle spins by turning the steering wheel in the middle. Tracy, how much does that actually affect
It does. Jaden flew out.
Okay.
All the way. Yes.
I had to stick my leg over her legs because I wasn't giving up. And I came out and I swear my shoulders doubled in size from the effort I put into dragging those around. I must admit, I made myself feel a bit queasy and I never feel queasy on those things.
Have you been on the Mad Hatter's teacups at Disney?
No.
Are you
Queue-
sure?
The queue was too long. So no. I think the kids
Maybe.
went on.
I thought you went on it
Yes.
with him.
I don't remember. No, I don't think so.
Anyway,
Anyways,
He needs humans to make tea in that ride.
maybe human tea.
Humanity.
if that's not enough to set you off, then we've got sound effects and flashing lights to add to the attraction to simulate lightning and thunder, as well as the overhead power generator.
Oh.
At the conclusion, Professor X informs riders that they are successful and Magneto is retreating. Riders then exit the vehicles and may or may not throw up everywhere. Lee, I'm looking at you.
I know.
So epileptics beware.
I feel
Yeah.
like Magneto sees this. He's like, man, if he does this to his own friends, screw this. I'm leaving.
Yeah. What they're going to subject me to if this is what it does to his followers. Yeah. I suppose at some point, just the completest in me.
Oh, he's saying it.
But-
Go on, say it.
I have to, but I think I might have to go on it on my own because there's no way I'm getting into one of these things with you.
Oh, no, you got to have all of us in there at the
I
same
think we all have to be with you and live stream this.
Yes, we got to fit 5 people in there. So.
Michelle, just in case you're listening, this is not going to be part of the Weekender. I am putting it
Michelle,
down
if you're
now.
listening, it is.
So 4 of us and 1 lucky podcast listener.
Lucky or unlucky, it depends. If you sat
Wait,
straight
what's
across
the-
from
Yeah.
me, you won't be looking. I once did what we call a Starship Enterprise
Oh, good
ride
God.
over here, and they're basically like cars that sit on a big wheel, but they're on a hinge. So the wheel's flat, and the cars hang underneath, and they're round, like all round in a circle, and you sit one person between the other person's legs. And my best friend at the time dragged me on them at Flamingo Land, and if we had have been going round in circles for about 10 seconds more, I would have thrown up all over his back.
'Cause that was one that goes upright, isn't it?
Oh
So
my-
it goes like a
yeah.
really fast
So it
Ferris
starts
wheel.
off flat and it spins round, and then eventually it tilts up, so the wheels, and yeah. It was not fun. It ruined me for the rest of the day.
I used to love that ride. Anyway, back
But
to the park.
there's not much to discuss about this ride. It is what it is. It's
It's a bit pants,
a-
but you can go fast.
a
Weird
ride.
carnival ride in
Yeah.
a park that doesn't have any other weird carnival rides, really.
Yeah.
So.
yeah.
It's just weird how it's like tucked back in what feels like a storage area. I've always felt that's a
That's
bit
it.
of a
Yeah,
weird
it's
area.
not really
There's no theme
front
in
and
it's
foremost,
just
is there?
no. It's
Yeah.
just
Yeah, it's like
It's like you're going to the bathroom. Oh, let me ride this.
yeah.
it's like the guy, whoever made the park, just like lost a poker bet, and they were like, "Oh, I have to put this in somewhere." Okay.
Yeah, I think it was a case of they spent the money on the Hulk and Spider-Man, but they wanted more than 2 attractions in that land, which is funny when you look at how the thoughts of the park have changed. That when they built Diagon Alley, they only put 1 ride in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess you consider Doctor Doom as kind of a carnival ride too.
Yeah, but it's a weird one. I mean, I'd be interested to find out how many people ride it on a daily basis.
There was one time that I went on, I think it was just me and Jade, there was only us 2 on it.
Oh, it wouldn't surprise me.
My mind is blown. It's 10 mile an hour.
10 miles an hour isn't that fast.
It felt a heck of a lot faster.
Think in circular motion.
Yeah.
That may be different.
When your brain's bashing off your skull.
Yeah.
And your stomach's
when it's
going around like a washing machine.
And you're doing circles, like you're doing a circle and then a big circle at the same
spinning
time.
within
I think
the
that
circle,
kind of adds the G-forces to it.
The whole thing spinning,
What do you
and then
think?
your individual
You spin,
cars spinning.
They're going round in a circle on a platform that's going in a circle, so it's like a circle in a circle. It's like Inception.
I'm sure there's some like
talking
math
about it.
There's like math professor listening to us right now saying, "No, it's this fast." So if you know the speed for real.
Yeah.
The relative speed is 13.5 miles an hour.
Dr. Frink? Yeah, there's not much you can say. It is what it is. I was going to bring something up.
Funny.
Am I right?
Sorry.
Oh, yeah, I probably would if I'd wrote this. Am I right in thinking that Marvel Superhero Island has the most amount of attractions per island? Has anywhere else got Zeus? Zeus has got 4 as well, hasn't it? High in the Sky, 1 Fish, 2 Fish, Carousel, and Cat in the Hat.
Wow. That's impressive.
Oh yeah.
But
They got a show.
4 attractions
They got
inside
4
a
in
land.
show.
And a big kids area.
Is
Not a big
And
kids
an
area, a
arcade.
large kids area.
Yeah, it's
An
got
arcade.
quite
too.
a lot going on in it
Yeah.
Yeah.
compared to a lot of the other lands.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I have, and 2 restaurants.
Yeah.
I was just thinking that, yeah.
Yeah, there's
There's a lot
lot
going
more
on
to-
in it.
thinking about how much time we spend in there relative to the rest of the lands, and it's a lot of time we spend in Marvel.
Yeah.
Well, while we wrap our heads around that, we'll take a quick break.
If you guys are ready to go to Halloween Horror Nights or just a wonderful trip at Universal or anywhere, your team at Mouse and Muggle Travel Company would love to help you. So just send us an email to info@mouseandmuggle.com and we'd be glad to help you go anywhere.
Okay then, welcome back. We're moving on now, and we are going to discuss the Incredible Hulk coaster. So,
Let's talk about something that's worth talking about.
yeah.
The Incredible Hulk coaster is not only one of the first things you see when entering Universal Orlando, but it can be seen from many areas outside the resort as well, making it a huge draw for guests entering the park. But the Hulk was not the first theme that was considered for this iconic coaster. Did you know that?
Yeah, I wrote this.
Okay. Well, the original concept saw it being themed to the Silver Surfer, with one part of the ride seeing guests enter a huge projection dome for a battle scene. But the creatives eventually settled on the Incredible Hulk.
It's interesting because if you go online and Google it, there's concept out there for it, concept art for it out there.
It just makes so much more sense too.
It really does,
really-
yeah.
For the
Yeah.
Silver Surfer.
It would have been
just
awesome.
the way he travels and everything,
Yeah.
it just makes a lot of sense. And that dome sounds awesome.
Do you think at the time, though, the Silver Surfer wasn't particularly well known? Had
No, I mean, I
fantastic.
still don't think.
Yeah, but at least he's been in a film at this point. We've had him in that crappy Fantastic Four 2,
Yeah.
Rise of the
Yeah.
Silver Surfer. But was that?
I think he would live on the 90s nostalgia of the comic books, because I think any kid that was anywhere near a comic book or knew that Silver Surfer was awesome.
Yeah, he was super cool.
True,
It's like the best.
but
He
yeah,
doesn't
see,
ruin it by talking. He just
that Fantastic Four film
surfs
came
around.
out in 2007. So when this was about, and they've obviously gone for something the Hulk, which is, even if you're not a comic book nerd,
Yeah.
you know
it's-
who the Hulk
obviously.
is.
Yeah, definitely more recognizable. And then, I guess it worked out, with the storyline or whatever, but I think the Silver Surfer would have been much better.
Here, fun fact: there's a Silver Surfer roller coaster in Europa Park.
Is there?
Yeah, I don't think it's related to Marvel, but it's a B&M coaster.
Interesting.
Yeah.
We should go.
We should go. I'd love to
should
go
go.
to Europa Park, actually.
Yes.
But yeah, it's interesting to think all the way back in 1999 that they were talking about doing sort of a projection dome around a coaster vehicle when you consider it's like quite common now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But then...
Like Tron.
20 years ago. Yeah.
I'm thinking of. It would have been a lot like the Tron coaster before it came out.
Yeah. You think like basically what Gringotts is, the Mummy's kind of that, I suppose. Forbidden Journey's kind of that. It's like the ride now, isn't it? And you're talking 20 years. Well, actually, probably when the initial concepts, you're probably looking more like 30 years ago.
Perhaps, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, going back on the ride, it has changed slightly since its initial opening way back in 1999. But going through that original attraction, here are a few of the stats if you want to know. So the highest drop was 104.9 feet. It reaches a top speed of 67 miles an hour, which is still pretty fast as coasters go. Yeah. It has 7 inversions, and this is the thing that always blows my mind about theme parks. You queue for like an hour and a half to get on something that lasts 2 minutes and 15 seconds.
That sounds long too.
Which is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's such a long ride. Yeah, I've just queued.
Like 7 hours.
To put it into perspective, when we first went to Alton Towers, we queued 2.5 hours to get on Oblivion. And I've stood and counted it. Oblivion from start to finish is 20 seconds.
Oof.
Yeah.
And like, is it really worth it? But anyway, apparently it reaches at its height 4 Gs as well, which is a lot.
That's a lot.
Be interested to see what Manta pulls. I think that's probably the heaviest Gs I've been on.
I can't.
Jesus, that is
I grade out on that. I can't ride that again.
Have you two rode Manta at SeaWorld?
That's the one you lie down on?
Yeah.
It's intense.
It is incredibly intense.
Yeah. Especially that loop you do in there.
That's what I grade.
It's such a weird feeling.
Yeah, the pain in my neck was unreal.
Yeah. It's the only ride that I've ever felt like G-forces in my knees. Like I felt like my knees were going to explode in port.
Yeah.
Weird
we just getting old.
For sure.
We sound like a bunch of old people complaining.
That's because we are.
That's true.
Well, I am.
Yeah.
Oh. All right. Yeah. So the ride was built by coaster manufacturer B&M and contains.
What's their full name? No, I'm just kidding.
Chris does not. It is Bollinger and Mabiard.
Ooh.
Sorry, my mic was cutting out. I just said.
Damn internet.
So it has a few of these elements here: a 150-foot long tunnel, tire propelled launch, which goes from 0 to 40 miles per hour in 2.5 seconds.
Right. Can I just jump in a second? I know I wrote this, right? And I even went back and forwards on because I did a lot of research on this attraction. Because technically it doesn't go from 0 to 40 because I don't know whether it still does now, but at the time you're already moving off before it launches.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a couple miles per hour. Maybe like 2 or 3.
I've always kind
of...
Darren?
Pedantic.
It's not pedantic. It's not a stop. It's not like Rock and Roller Coaster where you stop and launch from stood still. You're slowly moving up, which to me makes it better.
Yeah, doesn't that make it technically slower than like the insane mode in a Tesla? Like the launch of that thing?
I don't know. I don't know what that is.
No, because
Tesla is
0 to 60.
I know what a Tesla is.
Exactly. So I'm like trying to think of it that way, but like I think the 0 to 60 on a Tesla, and it's like an insane mode. It's like a racing mode that they have. It puts all the battery power into the like taking off.
Okay.
I think it does in like 3 seconds, 3.5 seconds or something like that. So
I know the new Roadster is like 1.8, which is kind of it's disgusting. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I mean, I know just because they can, but
yeah, no one's ever going to use that, are they?
Why? It's because Elon Musk.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there you go. Tell your kids it's not that bad, and this thing's on the track.
Yeah.
Totally safe.
However, this is where they kind of differ because this ride will begin with a 0G roll followed by a cobra roll, then a loop, followed by a corkscrew, then another loop, the block break, and another corkscrew, and a California roll.
Do you know, he got there before me. I was waiting.
Corkscrew stops it off.
Oh God. That cobra roll at the front of that ride, I've always said,
Delicious.
Yeah. It's got a bit of a bite to it, though.
the first 30 seconds of that ride is probably the most intense on any ride ever.
Yeah.
It's so, like, up that 0G roll into the cobra roll and then back down the other side through the loop and then through. I haven't actually put it in, but that tunnel is my favourite bit in the attraction.
Yeah.
I love that so much.
That 0G roll always gets me, like, not blacked out, but just kind of makes the sun go away a little bit more.
Chris is playing out.
It's true. I don't know. Weird. Every time I'm like almost black out. Okay, I'm back.
Yep.
I've never done that on a coaster.
I've already done that on
Makes the
Manta.
ride
Never
better.
done it.
Well, Celia, you haven't been drinking going on the coasters, so.
Yeah.
That's very
In fairness, I almost blacked out on the line too. So it's
I think Lee's going to go to grey out on Stormforce Accelatron.
Oh, I might do.
Oh, yeah.
I might die.
Well, just as long as I know what the insurance policy is. The ride opened with Islands of Adventure on May 28th, 1999, and after a nearly year-long closure, reopened on August the 4th, 2016. The ride's height restriction is 54 inches. So, okay, let's talk about the first iteration of the ride. Most roller coasters are built to try and dampen the amount of sound that they make by filling the rails with sand. The prime example of this was the Dragon Challenge track that ran behind the Sinbad show in Islands of Adventure. So the sound was dampened so that when the Sinbad show was being performed, the coaster's sound didn't interfere with the performance, which, you know, makes sense.
Well, the interesting thing about that, Tracy, do you remember how we found that out?
I don't.
It was actually when we were having our pre-recording chat with William Kidd, the composer of the
That's
music
right,
for Islands of
yes.
Adventure. It was actually him
Yes,
that told us
that's
that.
right, yeah. Yeah. But yes, with the Hulk, the opposite was done. The rails were left unfilled, and this gave the ride its now famous roar that can be heard from all around Universal Orlando Resort. And
Could be heard.
Could be heard,
It
yes,
can't
could.
be heard anymore.
It's one of the best sounds ever.
It just gets you so pumped when you're walking up to Islands of Adventure and you can hear that roar first thing on a morning. It's so awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. In creating the ride, the designers of the ride wanted to simulate being shot out of a cannon. Therefore, a unique launch system was developed by Universal Creative and MTS Systems Corporation. That's Martin Transportation Systems. In case you're interested.
Is it?
Right? Yeah, I just looked it up. in case Chris tried to catch me on it. Like I did to him.
Look at Darren.
touche.
Riders travel at an angle of 30 degrees through a 150-foot long tunnel, pulling 1G as part of the initial launch. To power this launch, the designers investigated a variety of systems ranging from hydraulic, pneumatic, cable, steam catapult, and conveyor belt.
Let's just
In the end-
just look at that again. A steam catapult? What the hell?
Sounds medieval.
What the hell is that?
Well, they put coal inside of a fire, and
That doesn't sound
Have at
like that doesn't sound like a modern thing, does it? It's like if you had Islands of
No,
Adventure 1954, maybe.
I think even earlier than that. I think you'd look like 1800s.
It's just bizarre, isn't it?
Yeah. Wow, that's really interesting. Well, in the end, a tire drive system was selected, where 230 electrical motors power a set of tires that pinch the train's underside Ooh, to provide propulsion. And that's what happens. It goes, woo! And just launches off.
It's like when
And
you
they
nip
had
someone's
to-
bum and they jump.
Yes. Yeah. And they had to disguise that sound, so that's why you get the roar. They couldn't have the Hulk going.
Oh, I think that would have been fun.
As the system required 8 megawatts, no gigawatts of power to launch a train, the park built several customized motor generator sets with large flywheels. Without these stored energy units, they would have had to build a whole substation and risk browning out the local energy grid with every launch.
That was
The
browning
launch
out.
system, where you'd, yes. No, it's where the lights like dim but don't go all the
Oh,
way
yeah,
out.
we get that all the time, are you?
Yeah.
that's the whole launching.
Yeah.
Might
All
be.
we did was we subverted it.
We're using the UK as our other substation.
Yes. Oh man. The launch system made the Incredible Hulk the only B&M ride to feature a launch until the opening of Thunderbird at Holiday World in 2015.
Wow.
But unlike the Incredible Hulk, Thunderbird uses a linear synchronous motors launch system that was designed by B&M.
Yeah, well, it is, because obviously the one we're used to hearing now is the linear induction motors.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That seems to be the smoother one, because I think it's probably what you'll find Tron will be at the Magic Kingdom, if it's similar to Velocity at Flamingo Land over here. That's linear induction motor, and Jesus, does it go!
Shifts.
I tell you what, if Tron's anything like that, the rush you get in your chest, because I think that's something like
everything just
is it like not
stops.
I think it's not to something like 42
40, I think it is, something like that.
in 2 seconds. And, oh my God, you cannot breathe.
Yeah.
But because you're sat in like a sitting position, like on a motorbike, it's an entirely different experience.
Yeah. Yeah. That's amazing.
Oh, it really
Oh,
is.
love it.
So let's talk about the queue. And we'll talk obviously the 1999 to 2015 iteration, which I remembered very little of, to be honest. But when you entered the queue, it was themed to Dr. Bruce Banner's science laboratory, and it had TVs showing, obviously very similar to the Spider-Man queue, the sort of that 1990s animated Hulk TV show type thing, telling you the story. Bruce is trying to find a way to reverse the effects of what the gamma rays did to him by testing it out on you, the guest. Cheers, mate.
Again.
Appreciate that.
I like using those.
While walking through the lab, guests encountered items including the generator, the gamma core, and the Towers of Power. What are the Towers of Power? Sounds like out the Goonies. Pinches of power. You could even see the coaster roaring past through large holes in the metal walls of the queue at certain points, which is cool.
Yep.
Yeah. The queue split up in two at the point for those who were willing to wait the extra time to experience the Hulk in the front row, which took forever. Once guests were seated,
front row.
I think we did.
What?
I'm trying to think if we've ever rode front row. I'm one of those people, I'm impatient. I'd just rather get on rather than go queue an extra 15 minutes to get on front row.
I think everybody should do it once, though, because the front row is pretty cool.
I think we must have done.
I think we have.
Yeah. Once guests were seated, the ride began its slowest ascent up the Gamma Tunnel as this audio played around them.
Everything looks good. I think this time it's going to work.
Warning. Coolant levels dropping.
No!
Coolant levels dropping.
No!
Warning. Warning. Warning.
No!
That's the most laid-back warning message I've ever heard in my life. Warning. Warning. There's a warning going on. You sound like...
Holly!
Hey, get out of the way!
It's like she had something else to do on her schedule. The coaster then enters its high-speed launch and into a zero-G roll. Once off the ride, guests exit via the photo store, where they could collect a photo that was taken of them on the attraction. Gamma radiation not included.
I didn't put this in because obviously we haven't ridden it since its new one, but is that still the same today?
Yes, they will not give you gamma radiation.
No, I mean...
Damn it.
Is it still like just a daft photo thing at the end?
Yeah.
Moving forward, on August 14th, 2015, Universal announced that the coaster would undergo major enhancement work and would close on September the 8th, 2015, meaning Lee and I wouldn't get to ride it on our last trip. And I didn't ride it the one before either.
No, it means we just got to stare at it half taken down longingly from me ship the olive.
Yeah. The ride the ride reopened to the public on August the 4th, 2016.
Our wedding anniversary.
As part of the coaster's major refurbishment, a new original storyline was added with a completely redesigned queue experience that places guests inside a perilous scientific experiment led by General Thaddeus Ross.
The entrance features a huge statue of the Hulk holding one of the original ride vehicles over his head and some of the original tracks arcing over him.
Which is cool.
I
like that they did that.
Yeah. Little homage there.
Yeah.
A little something to say on the VIP tours. The TVs in the queue now show CGI animations of test subjects being exposed to gamma radiation and being transformed into Hulk-like creatures. As part of the queue, guests now also have to pass through metal detectors to make sure they have no loose articles in their possession.
What's a Hulk-like creature? Surely it's the Hulk, or not a Hulk. What's a
You would think.
Hulk-like creature?
Horks,
Hawks?
hunks,
Come on, Darren.
You started.
Hulks. You have the Seinfelds. I don't know.
I think you've broken Darren.
Yeah. On their blog, Universal revealed that these details of the upgraded attraction way back whenever the hell it was when it closed down, and we were all very sad because we won't get to ride it. But obviously they said there's a massive new marquee. So they said from the moment you walk up to the beloved coaster, you'll see the huge changes that were made to the attraction. As you enter the ride, you'll pass underneath a towering figure of the Hulk using his colossal strength to hold up pieces of the coaster's track. And fun fact, these track pieces were salvaged from the original ride. So that's changed then. Because it's a car it's holding up, not pieces of the track.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah. The new original storyline, General Thaddeus Ross is calling for volunteers for a new experiment. Your only warning is that you'll be subjected to high levels of gamma radiation through a process called Hulkification, a potentially life-altering process first introduced by Dr. Bruce Banner.
Potentially life. Yeah. Darren and I both went to the same place. No, I think it's a fair point. There's a fair chance it will.
No, there is a chance that your life will continue as it always is if you are already a WWE superstar.
The end result is to give subjects magnificent strength and a forceful amount of energy. Will you emerge as the military's next super soldier or something else entirely?
A gibbering, throwing up mess.
Just slime.
One or the other. He's holding part of the ride vehicle.
Yeah.
Okay, I
It
just
says
want to
the
make sure.
track's in there, doesn't it?
Yeah, the track like goes around it.
To the vehicle.
but- yeah, it's kind of like he's ripping it off of the track section.
Ah.
All
Okay.
right. Okay.
Why would he break his own ride?
I don't know.
Hulk.
To make way
Who
for a new
knows?
one.
Yeah.
Anger took over.
Yeah.
Kids, don't be angry.
A completely redesigned queue. Your part of the story begins the moment you enter the building, which has been redesigned as a state-of-the-art military research compound commanded by General Ross, of course.
Awesome.
Mysteriously, for some reason, without air conditioning still. In
Yeah.
Florida. How state of the art. Inside, General Ross is conducting an array of questionable bioradiological experiments. You'll want to just hop right in there. And you'll pass by laboratories containing high-tech equipment his team uses to execute his mysterious tests. Now, do they execute the tests, like complete the tests, or do they kill whatever the tests?
Well, that's what it says. Execute.
That's up to you. Yes, it does say execute. Next, you'll arrive at the Gamma Core, an intense energy source that sends pulsing waves of radiation upward to fuel General Ross's experiment. Not to worry, a thick pane of glass will protect you from direct exposure to the radioactive core.
Whew.
That's
God.
relief.
I feel much better now.
Because,
Unfortunately, it increases the temperature by 50 degrees inside the building. As you move along, you'll witness the transformation of your predecessors as they undergo the perilous Hulkification process.
a totally new ride vehicle. Now, from there, you'll step into an entirely new ride vehicle. Hey, what a surprise. The changes start with its sleek, modern new look. Once on board, you'll discover a brand new in-seat audio system that booms an original ride score created by Patrick Stump. Woohoo! Frontman for the internationally renowned rock band Fall Out Boy. I do like a bit of Fall Out Boy. The next thing you know, you're rocketing through a new launch tunnel packed with amazing special effects as you're propelled out of a Marvel superhero island with superhuman force.
Can I just say that the speakers on my cart are always broken?
Oh, you always sit in the same seat.
Yes.
There you go.
That's the problem.
It must just be you two, because Darren always gets the broken gun on Men in Black as well.
Yep.
That's true, yeah.
That's right. We're going to be maxed out every time.
Yeah. So as Tracy said, they also added an on-ride soundtrack created by Fall Out Boy's Patrick Stump. On the Universal blog, he stated, For me, it all started with the ride and the story. I wanted something that complemented the experience you'll get at the theme park, but also took you on the journey in its own way. Plus, I utilized some strange angular properties to kind of emulate the hyper-chiseled, squared-off way Jack Kirby would draw the Hulk. Conceptually, I wanted rumbling drum rhythms that could capture the Hulk's raw muscular aggression and deep growling brass instruments that mimicked that kind of throaty roar. I wanted melodies that struck you in the chest as if the Hulk was swinging a bus into a wall.
Okay.
When it came to the Q overture, however, I composed several reappearing themes. I'd almost say leitmotif.
Oh, you shut up.
to take you through that kind of childlike, innocent wonder, the heroics, the military aspect of the story, the technological sci-fi element, the kind of espionage chase feel, even a bit of the lonely melancholia the Hulk is kind of famous for.
Do 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 do. Is that it? I've never actually listened to these because if you go on the actual blog post, you can download these. I think there's 4 little sections of the music from it, and you can download them as a ringtone. And I don't think I've ever actually listened to them.
Oh, there you go.
It sounds like, down in with the haven't you people ever heard of?
Hulkification process.
Just joked. I went to speak and laugh at the same time and nearly died. I can't actually breathe.
Oh, no.
Hulkification process.
That's what's happening.
No, taking over.
She's wearing green. And her hair's green. Oh my God, it's happening.
Oh no. It's very slow. During the enhancement, the ride was completely retracked, but one thing was removed that many fans were sad about, and that was that signature roar. Now, as the Hulk trains emerge from the launch tunnel, you actually hear the Hulk roar.
Now, what do we
What are your
feel
thoughts on the roar?
of how it was compared to how it is? Because it's weird, isn't it? Because it comes out and it goes like the actual Hulk roar. It's kind of weird.
Yeah. It's more for you on the ride than for just atmosphere around the area, and I preferred it the way it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder why they chose to change it.
Well, it's funny because even though they're using the actual Hulk roar and speakers or whatever, it seemed more realistic when they did it the other way, and like more like visceral, you know.
See, I wonder because I remember ringing up to book our character breakfast at Confisco Grill way back in 2009, and it turns out the little booth where the guy answers the phone to book said breakfasts and dining reservations was right underneath the Hulk, and he couldn't hear jack of what I was trying to say to him because the Hulk kept going over the top of him. So I wonder if that played into it a little bit. I'm not quite sure why they decided to put it there, but oh my God, I can't imagine that must have been an easy job.
That one guy's like, finally.
And he has to deal
I'm
with
sorry,
it.
Sir. Where?
Now all he has to do is deal with it every 2 minutes and 15 seconds going,
yeah. They put a speaker at his desk.
I would preferred it to have left it where it was. It would be actually interesting to get, you'd probably never get an official word on it, but to find out why they actually changed it.
I don't think we'll ever know.
Yeah.
Do not. One other thing that was added to the attraction was an incredible light package that makes the Incredible Hulk coaster a sight to behold once the sun goes down, if it still is open.
Yeah, if the park's ever open once the sun goes down.
Yeah.
It's true, though. It's weird, because we've said it on the show quite a lot with this, and then with Kong, that they've added these light packages to make them more of an experience at night, but Islands is very rarely open past 7 o'clock.
That just tells you these ride manufacturers have amazing sales teams.
Yeah.
Yeah, can we upsell you this light package? Oh, yeah, we'll take it.
Yeah. The biggest example of that is in the other park, it's Men in Black. Like, that is just a big square building during the day, but at night it's awesome.
Yeah.
Like with the lights on it and the streaks and projections and everything. Yeah.
I don't think I've ever noticed.
Yeah, check it out during Horror Nights sometime.
Oh, but Horror Nights is different because they project stuff on for Horror Nights, don't they?
No, well, they might put like the logo or something on the corner, but the building itself is, you'll see it. Yeah.
I think I've obviously looked at it and just assumed it was all Horror Nights projection
Maybe.
rather than looking at it being.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Because like Rip Ride Rocket's the same, isn't it? You know, the light package on that makes it look awesome at night. For how much people complain what an eyesore it is during the day, I think at night it really does fit well in the park. Because I think you don't see the track as much, do you? You just see the lights, and it is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome during
true.
the concerts to see it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
looking back
totally.
there.
Yeah.
Very cool.
You know, the fact that it was closed the last time Tracy and I were over, we haven't ridden it. Well, Tracy, you haven't ridden it since 2009.
No, because it did me neck in.
Wow. Yeah.
It has not gotten any smoother since
Well,
then.
that was the question I was just going to ask. How much difference has that retrack made?
0 to none.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, it's still a pretty rough ride.
Yeah.
I say you feel it less in the front, actually. That's
Okay.
one. Because you get the G-forces and everything in the back. Like the front with the launch, I think is probably the least jerking around you're going to get.
Okay.
But the back of it does whip around like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It could be different for everybody when they ride it, but at least for us, when we go and ride it, it's just as rough as it was before. I think they need to add some like cushionier head pieces.
So word.
Yeah.
Cushionier.
It is now.
Is now.
Yeah.
It's still
No,
not
it-
getting around.
It does, and that would help out a lot. But I don't know. Like it's one of those ones you have to kind of like anticipate what's going to happen, and if as long as you do, you can move your head around in such a way that you won't
Yeah.
Yeah.
it hurt really bad. But you have to be paying attention to what's going on.
Yeah, I find a
And
lot.
don't try to look to the side ever.
No.
Ooh.
I always remember riding the Hulk. I think it was in 2005, and it was. I think we bought some stuff because we were planning on heading out, and it was like a 10-minute wait. So we went, bugger it, we'll go and jump on it. And I think it was when I bought my Hands of Adventure hoodie. So I just shoved the bag up my t-shirt and got on the ride. And the guy next to us, when you come round the last, it does that weird little back and forward shimmy thing as it before it comes into the. He undid his buckle. He had his cap, waving his cap around him one, and I'm like, "What the hell are you doing?" Crazy, crazy man.
Yeah.
But yeah, I haven't ridden it since 2000. I think I only rode it once in 2013.
That's when Jade and I rode Stormforce.
If I remember rightly, in 2013, Darren met us later than expected in Hogsmeade because it
Fell
was like
asleep.
a 5-minute wait. No, it was a 5-minute wait. And he went, I'd have been here 5 minutes ago, but I've just jumped on the Hulk as a compass because it was. So yeah, fair
Yeah.
enough. But yeah, I remember very little of it at this point, and I do worry that
I
the next
remember
time
it.
I go on it with me not being very tolerant of roller coasters anymore, whether it might make me ill.
Well, the first time you ride it, you make it the last ride of the day. And then you know for the rest of the stay.
Good thinking.
Yeah.
See?
Pro tip.
It should be all right.
I'm the brains and the pretty one in this family.
Because it was my favourite coaster anywhere for the longest time. Because like I say, I think that the launch out of the tunnel, the zero G roll, the Cobra roll, then down through into the loop into that tunnel was just fantastic start to a coaster. It really packed everything in that first 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah, that, and then after the brake hill, I think it's just a really kind of weird thing. Like it does like the brake hill stop, and then it just does like one more roll, and then you're done.
Yeah, and it's kind of weird that it's kind of backstage as well. You can see like team member parking lots and stuff. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, that is true.
That's probably
I do not care about the immersion there.
Yeah, it's weird. Like all the theming is in, like, say that first half before you go through that tunnel, and it's like, welcome to the Utilidors, even though it's not the Utilidors. It's kind of the same with I'm sure we'll talk about it in 2 weeks, Doctor Doom. If you're sat in the right place on Doctor Doom, there's no better place to view that park from. But if you're sat on the back side of that ride, it's like, there's a team member parking lot and some buildings, and yeah, cool.
I've done Doctor Doom twice.
The view from the... I wish it would... Because we have a drop tower at our local theme park, and it's very similar to Doctor Doom. It fires you up, drops you back down.
See, I don't like that That's what I don't like is the firing up.
And
And
it-
it drops, not a problem.
It has an A mode and a B mode. And B mode is it fires you up, drops you back down, fires you up, drops you back down. Pretty much the same as Doctor Doom. Then A mode is it does that, and then once it goes to drop, it stops and it hikes you up to the top, holds you at the top for 10 seconds, and then drops you the full height. I wish Doctor Doom would do that.
Oh yeah, that would be nice.
Just to be able to see that view from the top a little bit more rather than because that initial launch on it is pretty intense. Anyway,
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
we're not talking about Doctor Doom
No, we're
this
not.
week. But yeah, I'm looking forward to getting on the Hulk again. Like I say, it's been 6 years since the last time I rode it.
yeah,
It's 10 for
10
you.
for me.
it's crazy.
Wow. That is crazy.
I know there was a lot of talk that when they did the re-tracking and more so the queue, that they seemed to take out a lot of the actual Hulk references in it.
Yeah, like to see the actual Hulk himself is the front statue. That's it.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah, the rest is like these weird experiments that they're doing, like on a pizza delivery boy, and just people that walk into this Hulkification machine turns
that's
them
the one
into
Chris was really sad about. He's like, "Why has it got to be the pizza boy, man?"
Yeah.
Just strange why they...
Future-proof themselves for a change of...
Well, that's
Thing
what a
you
lot of
That's
people
what-
said, didn't they?
Yeah, true. But I mean,
You would have to get rid of that though.
the rest of it. I mean, a lot of the Hulk references were video, anyways, in the queue.
Yeah,
So, like,
Very
it's
true.
something they could have pulled out at any time. So,
it's very
just
strange.
weird.
Yeah.
When your ride is literally called the Incredible Hulk Coaster, it seems weird.
Yep.
Incredible.
Incredible Hulk coaster starring you.
Yeah, yeah. This seems to be a theme. I think. Well, actually, it is a theme for all of them, and we'll get into the other two. But it's like it's really putting you in positions where you wouldn't normally willingly walk into. Do you fancy helping us stop Magneto? Yeah, all right then. How'd you do it? Just ride this thing here, throw up, and we'll be good. Oh, cool. Do you fancy becoming the Hulk? We just blast you with gamma rays, and no, you're all right.
Hey, how about you just sit here in a vehicle and we let the Green Goblin lob fire pumpkins at your head? Okay.
But I love it. I love it. I still love it. Like I say, I'm looking forward to riding it again because it has been a very long time since I've ridden it. And that's what I was going to ask. Express Pass. So if you've got Express Pass for the Hulk, can you ride front row any quicker, or does it still split to have to go into that front row line?
You have to go the front row line, but you get up there faster
Yeah.
to that point.
Okay.
But yeah, if you do want to ride the front row, you still got to stand in that line.
Which is fair enough.
Yeah, which isn't bad at all if you've
Yeah.
done the Express, because the Express is usually straight on with
Yeah.
that.
So, Chris, Darren, Tracy,
Yep.
putting all the roller coasters in Universal Orlando Resort in an order, where would you put the Hulk?
Because I haven't ridden it for 10 years.
Do like old coasters count too?
No.
Well,
Okay.
I can't say where I'd put it now because I haven't ridden it, so I have no experience of the new.
It's
Track.
right. It's exactly
still
the
probably
same
at
as
the
the old
top.
one.
Yeah. I'd still probably put it at the top of the coasters.
It's
Yeah.
I still have
Um,
right up one.
I mean, how many coasters
What
is
else?
there? Actual
Do you
coasters.
class
Rip Ride Rocket.
the Mummy, Rip Ride Rocket? There's actually not many now, is there?
No,
No,
Do you class Gringotts as one?
I suppose. If you
no, not
stretches,
at all.
Really?
You're desperate.
No.
Funny
Yeah, but
coaster
surely, Darren,
track.
if you class the Mummy as, surely you've got to class Gringotts as.
No, because the Mummy has actual like coaster segments, and I will argue that Gringotts doesn't. It just like has a couple of, like fast moving from one side, like from scene to scene, but it doesn't actually incorporate any like coaster elements. Like
You have a drop,
Kind
a teeter-totter drop.
yeah, at the very beginning, that stops immediately after that.
True.
This
At a
sounds
show
like
scene.
Q-Line all over again.
I
Yeah, I don't
put it
think
in
so.
second
I
place.
Chris? I guess we were out of two because we were only counting Rip Ride
Sorry,
Rocket.
second.
And
Oh no, I'm not counting. That's 2
Yeah.
out of 3.
you're counting the Mummy then.
Yeah, Mummy's number 1.
yeah.
What?
Ooh.
Getting faces.
2 or 3 maybe. Rip Ride's still up there as like my favorite.
Good lad. I knew I liked Chris.
Ugh.
Darren, when was that?
And-
When was the last time you rode Rip Ride Rocket?
I wrote with you guys when I got strangled by my lanyard.
When was that?
Don't remember.
When didn't
Last
we
time?
do it during the RIP tour?
Yeah.
We all went on.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Actually, yeah, I placed
That's
third.
when and the thing went down and my RIP lanyard actually was like it got like caught in the thing like the
Oh Christ.
where it comes across on the side there, and yeah, I was like getting strangled by it the whole ride. It was fun.
That's not good.
I'm determined this year that I'm going to get one of the secret tracks done. I'm going to write one on my hand, and I'm going to do it.
Oh,
Okay.
Rather than
I
saying
thought
I'm going to do
you're
the
going to
secret
get like a
tracks.
track of you singing on it.
Yeah.
We can see if we can get that happening.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Hmm?
But I'm determined to
I
do
think
it.
it's something we might be able to do. Let's get Mike Aiello on the line.
I'm sure, yeah. I'll talk to Blake.
All right, so first we're going to get you to Rising Star Karaoke.
Yeah, recorded
Get a
there.
couple drinks in you. We're going to sing, record you singing.
One day we will get there.
And then that's going to be a Rip Ride Rocket track. They can do it all in house.
Yeah. Right. I think we've exhausted
I
that
don't think
really.
there's much else to
No.
say, is there?
Now, before I wrap up the show, don't forget UUOP The Weekender tickets are still available. And if you are interested, head to UUOPTheweekender.eventbrite. That's bright, BRITE.com to get yours. They are selling out fast.
Yes, the weekend is the 4th to the 6th of October.
Won't be long.
Scary. We actually had our first sit-down meeting with Mr. Kabursky last
Oh,
week
yes.
to sort out start putting ideas in place for the scavenger hunt. It's going to be quite intense.
Well, no pressure.
Oh, in a good way.
Yeah. Just putting pressure on us to create something really intense, but that's okay.
It's not us. I don't think we're doing anything about it, are we?
We will be.
Anyway,
So yes, in two weeks we will be continuing this thread and we'll be discussing Dr. Doom's Fearfall and the amazing adventures of Spider-Man.
cool. Looking forward to that one.
Yes, me too. So that's going to do it. So for Lee, Darren, Chris and myself, this has been episode 352 of the Unofficial Universal Orlando podcast.
Cut, print, that's a wrap for another episode of the Unofficial Universal Orlando podcast. Never miss a show by subscribing on Apple Podcasts and leave us a rating and review while you're there. Not an Apple user? You can listen on Stitcher, Spotify, YouTube, iHeartRadio, or your podcatcher of choice. Email us any questions or comments to podcast@uuopodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, YouTube, Instagram, and Pinterest. Just search UUO Podcast. Keep up with the latest news, rumors, and updates on our blog at uuopodcast.com. Thanks for listening. See you next week.